आज हम यहाँ मॉर्निंग स्टार ड्राइव और गोरवे ड्राइव की इंटरसेक्शन पे मौजूद हैं. दिस इज़ द प्लेस वेयर deceased Ejaz Chaudhry lived in this area. He was shot and killed by police on Saturday evening when everybody was preparing for Father's Day. There was a family who lost a father to in the hands of Peel police. Family and friends, they are demanding justice and independent inquiry. People from Muslim Council of Peel were here from the community, and friends and family, they were here, and they're all asking one question: why a mentally challenged person was shot and killed, whereas the family called only the non-emergency number. They did not call the police because they were clearly aware of the protocols, who to call, and when the police came, they shot and killed that person. So the inquiry needs to be independent, to be fair.
On behalf of the Muslim Council of Appeal, my name is Imam Ibrahim Hindi. I am the acting president of the Muslim Council of Appeal. I'm here on request of the Chaudhry family. These past couple of days, I've spoken to so many members of the Chaudhry family, and in this time, we've heard the overbearing fear and the overbearing pain that they have endured as a result of Uncle Ejaz being killed. What is undeniable to us and to everyone here is, and based on the witnesses' testimony and based on the video footage that we have all witnessed, is that Ejaz Chaudhry should be alive today, and he should be safe today, and he should be with his family and his children today. And the only reason he isn't is because of the horrific attack that was witnessed over the weekend. And so on behalf of the Muslim Council of Appeal and the Chaudhry family, we demand a public inquiry into what took place, and we demand a public inquiry into what happened to Ejaz Chaudhry. We have no faith in an investigation that is conducted by the SIU, which has historically failed victims of police violence and brutality. And we also demand that the officer involved in shooting our uncle is removed immediately from Peel Police. Uncle Ejaz was physically frail, he was 62 years old, and the decision that was made by individuals to shoot him, to barge in on his house and to shoot him and to kill him, are individuals who are not fit to serve. They should never again carry a badge or walk our streets. We demand that Peel Police remove this officer from duty now. Ejaz did not represent a harm to anyone but himself. He was alone in his own apartment, and speaking to witnesses and to family, it is clear that police did not do everything in their power to de-escalate the situation. It is clear also that this case is not isolated. DeAndre Campbell suffered from a mental health crisis and called the police, called 911 for help, and he ended up being killed at the hands of police. Police failures in excessive force, failures in dealing with mental health crises, and failures in de-escalation are systemic, and these deaths could have been avoided. Ejaz Chaudhry's children and his family and his blood demands that the calls from family and from community are not ignored. Our political leaders, the chief of police, they cannot appease us through delay. We are demanding that action is taken now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Salam. My name is Nadia Hashim, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the National Council of Canadian Muslims. And I'm here today with a very simple message. A police officer who burst into an apartment and opens fire in the way in which the officer appeared to open his fire this past weekend doesn't deserve to have a gun and a badge. It's that simple. Chief Nishan Durayaka, you have a choice to make. The easy choice is to try to point towards past precedents, policies that are meant to protect police but not the public, processes and bureaucracies. But there is also the right choice. You can choose to have this officer off our streets. The police are theoretically meant to keep us safe. But with this officer on the streets, no one can feel safe. Not now, not ever. This is our demand. He needs to go, and he needs to go now. The man who killed Uncle Ejaz has no right to ever wear the badge and be walking on our streets ever again. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mohammed Hashim. and I'm here on behalf of the Urban Alliance on Race Relations. We're here today to call for justice for Uncle Chaudhry. Here with them and their time of grief, we stand in solidarity with the family. Also important to know that this death isn't an isolated incident, part of a long-standing pattern of systemic racism and policing that touches racialized Black and Indigenous communities. Since April, 9 Black, Indigenous, or racialized people have died in interactions with the police. Their names are Regis Korchinski-Paquette, Chantel Moore, Rodney Levy, Stuart Kevin Andrews, Jason Collins, Aisha Hudson, Caleb Tulivia, Nicole, DeAndre Campbell, and Mr. Chaudhry. The Urban Alliance on Race Relations 20 years ago released a report called Lethal Force, and we talked about the need to de-escalate, for the police to be able to be demilitarized, and the same problems that we saw then 20 years ago are happening today. And this report was just one out of dozens that we've seen come that have asked for police reform, and nothing has changed. All this time, it's the same thing over and over again. People are getting killed for no reason. The fact is, the police as an institution is unable to deal with crises like this. The Urban Alliance on Race Relations supports the call to defund the police. We want there to be a necessity of cause for people to be able to be brought in to deal with mental health issues. Mental health issues should not be dealt with by the police. We need more and different people and professionals to deal with that. This is not the way we need to deal with them. And taking that money from the police is a viable option for the society needs to take care of. We're also here in support of the Chaudhry family as they call for the officer that shot their uncle dead to be fired and criminal charges to be laid against him today. There is a choice in this country, and either we're going to stand together to make a stand against policing that has been harmful to many people, or we're going to allow this to be 20 years down the line saying the same thing over and over again. So I'm asking all of you, all the politicians, all the community members that are here today to stand together, and let's make sure that we actually get justice for Uncle Ejaz. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Yusuf Fakiri, and I'm the founder of the Justice for Salim movement. It's a movement that was created as a result of the vicious, violent beating death of Suleiman Fakiri at the hands of guards at the Central East Correctional Center. My dear friends, fellow Canadians, folks across the nation, I speak with you from a lens of pain, from hope of compassion. How is it possible in our society that a 62-year-old man who needed compassion, yet he received bullets, that now you tell his 7-year-old daughter that you're going to be without a father? What does that say about our society? The message is simple, ladies and gentlemen. It is very simple, but apparently it seems to be a very difficult message, but I'll share it again for us across our nation to think about. The pursuit of justice should not be elusive. The pursuit of accountability should not be elusive. The pursuit of transparency should not be elusive. The achievement of justice is a right. The achievement of accountability is a right. The achievement of justice is a right. There's the story of Pierre Corleone, Andrew Loku, Suleiman Fakiri, Justin Saint-Amour, Cass Geddes, Don J. Campbell. The list can go on and on, ladies and gentlemen. But as a society, what will our future generation look at us and say what we did? We have to plant and cultivate the seeds where people with mental illness, their lives are not viewed cheap. This was a man that had a story to tell. And his story was broken and destroyed by someone reacting, not compassion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very simple. Accountability for Mr. Ejaz Chaudhry should be achieved. It is non-negotiable. As a society, as a civic nation, this is a very simple message. Ejaz Chaudhry deserve better, and we as a society deserve better. And it is up to you, ladies and gentlemen, to not forget about this watershed moment. We have to continue. We do not want more people like Mr. Chaudhry to be put in body bags or Suleiman Fakiri, because if we do, it is on us. That's a simple of message. Mr. Chaudhry's life mattered, and so did Suleiman's, and so did Mr. Corleone's, so did Mr. Loku, so did Mr. Saint-Amour. Justice for Ejaz Chaudhry and folks suffering from mental illness. Thank you so much.
I've done countless news reports and whatnot about the case and the facts and whatnot, and I'm tired of speaking about them. I hate reiterating them, speaking again and again about the same thing. At the end of the day, all my brothers here support me and want the same thing as our family does. We want to create a system that is meant to be there for us. This system is not meant to be there for us. You're in a mental health crisis and you're faced by people with guns, people with body armor, people with authority over you, people demanding you, telling you what to do, instead of listening and trying to understand what's wrong, trying to understand how they can help, trying to understand how they can make a difference. But they don't. They have shown no compassion, no understanding for any human being in these cases. It's not just one, it's not just two, it's not just three, it's happened multiple times and it's going to keep happening again and again. My uncle was a harmless man. He had no power to hurt anyone. He could barely breathe at times. I don't understand why someone that's so harmless is so brutally murdered. Many people seen the video all over social media, making it all viral, which is what brings out a lot of our brothers and sisters today that are upset because they've seen how senseless of a killing it was. There was no demand to help. There was no demand to try to see if they could help my uncle, a 62-year-old schizophrenic man who's so harmless. No help. What does that mean? Have we failed as a society that we haven't spoken up early enough? How many more killings do we have to have until we get a change? And it's been the same since day one. There hasn't been any change. Mental health is increasing. There's so many mental illnesses around our country. Again and again, you see increases day by day, especially with the whole coronavirus, the COVID-19. You're seeing there's so many more mental illness cases. And what have we done? What has the police done? What have our politicians done? Nothing. There hasn't been a change. If there was a change, I wouldn't be here standing in front of you today telling you that I miss my uncle. We all miss our uncle. We all miss our... I can't even speak on behalf of his kids. His 7-year-old son is sitting at home waiting for his father to come home because he thought he went to the hospital. How do I go and tell him that no, the video that's going around all on Twitter that everyone has seen, that is your father? How do I do that? He's gonna grow up and he's gonna remember this. His other kids will remember this. When do we stop this? When do we stop these killings? Until we stop, there's gonna be videos circling and circling all over social media. And if it wasn't for social media, half of us wouldn't be here because we wouldn't see how brutal of a killing it was. When there was no reason to kill, there was a killing. On top of that, so brutally.
That's right, that's right.
So why? What's the reason behind it? You feel you have authority, you feel you have power, use that to be a better person. Use that to help people. If you don't help people, why would they want to be there for you? Why will they ask you for help? We've seen so many cases in Canada, not even just Canada, in America as well. There's so many mental health illnesses that are brought up in cases and they're murdered and killed. Not even just that, it's systematic racism. So many cases, just because of your color, your race, your income gap, your income bracket, you're treated differently. Oh, you live on welfare, you're treated differently. Why do we have this? Why is everybody treated differently? We're all humans. We're all one, no matter what race, no matter what religion. And I request the politicians and everybody that's in the higher ups to continue with the public inquiry, and please, we demand that the officer who did this, any officer involved in this, should be held accountable.
Should be dismissed right away.
Correct. The officer that committed the murder needs to be charged. But we begin with getting him fired. He needs to be removed immediately because today he killed my uncle, tomorrow he could go and kill someone else's uncle. He could go and kill someone else's brother, someone's father, someone's mother. How do you let someone like that back on the streets?
Never.
Never. This type of person should not be on the streets with the power, with authority, the control over other humans. This needs immediate action now. We are all here standing, the community, not just our family, not just the Chaudhry family, the entire community, people from hours away have come down because we all demand immediate action and justice because this is wrong. And now there is a family with no father. There's a kid that will grow up with no father. There is a wife with no husband. There is nephews with no uncle. There is nieces with no uncles. What are we going to do about it? We have to make a change.
We're looking for questions from the media,
Questions,
please.
anybody?
Yes.
Over the last 3-4 weeks where people are calling the police for support with mental health crises, emotional crises. Often the police are showing up under the guise of wellness checks, and then we're seeing people getting killed by the police. How is this issue, this murder of this uncle, related to those deaths?
It's clear that there is a systematic failure that exists in our society right now, and particularly the expectation that so many of us have that police are meant to deal with this. Police should not be the people who are dealing with mental health crises. This family was cognizant of that fact. They did not want the police here. They understood a man having a mental health crisis is not going to be served by the police. They called the non-emergency line. They were looking for help. They were looking for professionals who are skilled in mental health to help them through this crisis. And instead, somehow the police were called. That shows that our system is not set up to protect those who are having mental health crises. And that's why so many people, not only Uncle Ejaz, but so many people have called for help and ended up dead at the hands of the police who are ill-equipped to deal with these types of crises. Our society needs to recognize that fact, and we need to change what we are currently doing because it's not working.
Can you just go over actually the actual route of the march, of where you're going to go? Are you going to kind of circle back here? Just
We could do that afterwards.
okay, sure.
What was the crisis?
He had a history of, he suffered from schizophrenia, and he had a crisis where he was threatening to hurt himself. And he was not threatening to hurt anyone else, and he was cognizant enough to tell his family to leave the apartment, to leave him by himself. He posed no threat to anyone, other than potentially himself. And the police... Sorry?
Was he trying to harm himself?
He had not done so. He only had threatened to do so. The police took a situation of a possibility that he might hurt himself, and they turned it into a certainty in which he was hurt. And that's something that is unacceptable. They called the non-emergency.
I think we're going to stay away from the facts of the case at this point, just because the family itself is exploring their legal options. But if you have any questions related to any of the advocacy organizations, what we're asking for, we're happy to answer them.
Are we going to only blame this? I have one question.
Any questions from the media?
When even the paramedics were called and when even the police started coming in, why one of the family members was not with him? Because I have been told that he didn't understand English. So if he did not understand English, and if the police was constantly saying, drop your weapon, and if he's not getting it, why the family members they just left him in a room and went away?
I think that's a really good question, and it's something that everyone's asking. We want to know what happened there. How did the situation escalate from a call for help to the murder of an elderly man who was in psychological distress? How that happened, those are huge questions, important questions, and we demand answers, and we're going to get them.
The police was coming from the balcony. Wasn't there anybody to stop them because already they had entered through the door?
Again, these are questions that I think we're all asking.
But
We
where
want to
was the
know
family?
my
My question is, where was
But
the
the
family?
most important question is, how is it a 62-year-old man suffering from schizophrenia, known that he has a mental illness, who is harmless and shot? That's the question, ladies and gentlemen, we have to ask as a nation, as a society.
Yes, sir.
No, so let's, in terms of the details, why is he in a body bag right now? Why is this man in a body
We
bag?
have to look at both the sides.
Thank you very much.
There is no two sides.
There's no two sides.
There's only one side. Family was kicked out of the apartment.
There is no two sides.
Family was not allowed to be staying there.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Defund the police! 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 No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! And that's your answer for why.
एक इंतहाई तकलीफ दे वाक़या है जो पील रीजन में हुआ है। ये हर एतबार से तकलीफ दे है। और इससे बहुत से क्वेश्चन जो हैं वो पैदा होते हैं। उन क्वेश्चन में एक क्वेश्चन ये है कि जिस सिस्टेमिक रेसिज्म की हम बात करते हैं, जिस की वजह से ब्लैक लाइव्स मैटर जो है वो मूवमेंट थ्रू आउट चल रही है, क्या ये किस हद तक एग्जिस्ट करता है? बहुत से लोग बहुत सी बातें कर रहे हैं। मैं ये समझता हूँ कि ये वक्त है कि हम अपनी पुलिस को ट्रेंड करें, स्पेशली कैनेडियन पुलिस को ट्रेंड करें कि वो मुख्तलिफ हालात में कैसे एक्ट करे। खुसूसन एजाज चौधरी वाले मसले में एक शख्स जो कि मेंटल हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम में है और एक शख्स जो है उसके घर वालों ने खुद कॉल किया है उसके वेलनेस चेक के लिए, तो ये बड़ी तकलीफ देह है कि उसको बड़ा मिस हैंडल किया गया। ये बड़े अच्छे तरीके से हो सकता था, मगर बहुत से सवालात हैं जिनको आंसर देना है। और मैं ये समझता हूँ कि जब से ट्रंप और फोर्ड ये गवर्नमेंट में आए हैं, ये सिस्टेमिक रेसिज्म थोड़ा सा बड़ा है, थोड़ा सा नहीं काफ़ी हद तक बड़ा है। हमें इसके लिए बहुत कुछ करना है, बड़ी पॉलिसीज़ बनानी है, लॉ मेकिंग करनी है और इसके लिए एक ग्रास रूट लेवल पे पुलिस की और दूसरी लॉ इन्फोर्समेंट अथॉरिटीज़ की हमें ट्रेनिंग करनी है, उनका माइंडसेट बदलना है। थैंक यू सो मच।
हाँ जी, सलाम अलैकुम। आप देखें, ये जो मर्डर हुआ है इसका हम पुरजोर तौर पे एहतजाज करते हैं। ये एक ब्रूटल एक्ट हुआ है जो पुलिस की जानिब से हुआ है। एक निहत्ता आदमी जिसका ज़हनी तवाज़ुन ठीक नहीं, घर में घुस जाना, वो भी फर्स्ट फ्लोर के ऊपर सीढ़ियाँ लगाकर, और एक निहत्ते आदमी पर बग़ैर देखे हुए फायर कर देना, ये बहुत जुल्म हुआ है। हम कम्युनिटी की तरफ से भरपूर तौर पे आवाज़ उठाते हैं और हम मुतालबा करते हैं कि जो लोग इसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं, जो पुलिस वाले इसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं, उनके खिलाफ सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई की जाए।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। तमाम कम्युनिटी से रिक्वेस्ट है कि जो है ज़रूर इस मुजाहरे में शिरकत करें। ये डेफिनेटली वेरी ब्रूटल एक्ट है और ये कोई अभी नहीं है, ये काफ़ी अरसे से चल रहा है। बस इस दफ़ा ये है कि चूँकि हमारे जो भाई, अल्लाह ताला उनको जन्नत नसीब करे, एजाज़ भाई को, उनके साथ ऐसा हुआ, उनकी ज़हनी तवाज़ुन की वजह से पुलिस को बिल्कुल भी उनकी ये ट्रेनिंग नहीं है कि इस तरह से घरों में घुस के लोगों के ऊपर फायर खोलें। वो बहुत आसानी से इस पूरी सिचुएशन को डी एस्केलेट कर सकते थे। दे कुड हैव टेजर, दे कुड हैव पेपर स्प्रे, दे कुड हैव यूज्ड सो मैनी डिफरेंट strategies rather than gun. Why gun? That is the question. Thank you so much.
You want to know what a coward is? A coward is somebody who has unlimited power, who's strong, who's been trained, who has a bulletproof vest on, who has a gun on him. A coward is that person who has that power, who cannot handle a 65-year-old man with a mental illness. There could have been so many other ways to deal with this situation, but it was dealt with incorrectly. The man was simply looking for help. He had a mental illness. Instead of giving him pills, you gave him bullets. Is this the justice we deserve? Is this the justice we need in this country? What's the difference between us and the people down south if we're not going to pick what side we're on, if we're not going to have a justice system in place? What's the difference? What's the difference? I'm asking you this. Youth, I see some kids out here laughing. This is not a joke. Do I look like I have a laugh on my face? Do I have a smile on my face right now? This is not a joke. This is a serious issue. A man in our community has died. People have been dying at the hands of the people who were supposed to serve and protect this country. Are they serving and protecting us? We pay their bills. We pay their salary. Our taxes go in their pockets and they're not serving and protecting us. They're shooting our community. They're killing our elderly people. They're killing our people. Kids are dying. People are dying. Now fathers are dying. Fathers of four children. The man had mental illness. The police were called. They weren't even called. The non-emergency service were called because they just wanted to help out their family member. They just wanted to help out their family. And what did we get? What did we get? Instead of help, we got mourning. We got a bloodbath. We got a dead man, a father of four, a community that's devastated. This is a major check on your side. Peel Police, Canadian Police, this is a major check on your side. Who do you serve? Who are the people you serve? Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau, who do you serve? Are you going to take action on this? Are these police officers going to be fired? Is there going to be action taken on this? That's a question I have for you, Mr. Prime Minister. All right, and that's it. That's it. That's a question I have for you. Answer that question. My name is Sherez. Answer that question for me. Are you going to take action against these officers that have shot a person in our community?
हेलो एंड अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन, मैं हूं महविश वकार और आप देख रहे हैं टोरंटो 360। टोरंटो 360 हमेशा की तरह इस इंसिडेंट पर भी मौजूद है और अभी यहाँ थोड़ी देर के बाद यहाँ से रैली गुजरने वाली है जिसको हम आपको दिखाएंगे पूरा डिटेल में, तो आप इस प्रोग्राम को पूरा वॉच करते रहिएगा। और जैसा कि आप लोग जानते हैं कि अभी 2 दिन पहले जो ट्रेजेडी हुई है हमारी कम्युनिटी में वो बहुत ही शॉकिंग है हम सब लोगों के लिए। इस चीज़ को एक्चुअली बिलीव करना कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है, और जिस तरह उनकी फैमिली ने अप्रोच ली, पुलिस की मदद मांगी और जिस तरह की अप्रोच पुलिस ने ली, एक गलत अप्रोच यूज़ करते हुए एक इंसान की जान चली गई, तो पूरी कम्युनिटी इस वक्त शॉक में है। सब यहाँ पे सपोर्ट करने के लिए आए हुए हैं और सब देखना चाहते हैं कि इसका क्या रिज़ल्ट निकलेगा, इस प्रोटेस्ट का क्या रिज़ल्ट निकलेगा, किस तरह से इंसाफ मिलेगा और आगे जाकर होपफुली इस तरह के इंसिडेंट्स नहीं होंगे। टोरंटो 360 के साथ जुड़े रहिएगा, हम आपको आगे रैली की भी डिटेल्स दिखाएंगे और पूरे प्रोटेस्ट की कवरेज करेंगे। कैमरामैन साबिर गाया के साथ अपना ख्याल रखिएगा एंड कीप ऑन वॉचिंग।